Hey guys! So the other day, my talking stage invited me for Sunday service in his church, and I kind of like the guy, so I decided to impress a bit. So, anyways, I'm normally a low cut and jeans kind of girly, and then every now and again, I can throw on like a dress, still with my low cut. But this time around, I decided to exude feminine energy. So, anyways, this is my sketch. I got this off of a dress that I had seen on Instagram during the week. And these sleeves are puff sleeves. And then there's just a bit of gathering here. I'm contemplating actually putting a bit of netting on this area just so that the gathers are fuller. Not, I just didn't want flat gathers. And then this is just a tiny V neckline, and this is just like a false collar kind of thing, and it's going to be a bustier. And I was contemplating putting buttons, but I didn't eventually put the buttons. So just watch to the end to see what the final outcome is. And I labeled this the MAHLAH dress because this pattern is going to be available on our website and also in cardboard formats. And then UPD stands for University of Pattern Drafting. So anyways, I decided to go ahead and draft the pattern. But first off, in keeping with the feminine energy thingy, I decided to go for this really colorful Ankara fabric, which I really love. I bought it a while ago, and I proceeded to draft the pattern and converted it to cardboard format just so that I can easily store it and reuse it. So this is one of the ways to use our patterns. You can first trace it out with chalk. Once you're done tracing it out, take out the patterns and then go ahead and cut. You're using scissors to cut along the lines that you have traced. So this is just a very easy way to cut out your patterns. Once I was done cutting it out, I proceeded to store my pattern. So this is a way to store your patterns. Most of our cardboard patterns come with, in fact, all of our cardboard patterns come with this punch holes. So you can easily just pass any rope through them. Once you're done passing the rope through them, you go ahead and tie the rope. And if you've ordered patterns from us in bulk, or for a while, we would have gifted you this hanger. So just nail it to the wall, and then you can just easily always hang your pattern pieces there. So whenever you want to use it, just lift it off the hanger and go ahead to use it. So anyways, these are my fabric pieces. First off, very, very important, ensure that you notch all of your horizontal lines. So that is my bust point line that I notched. I also notched my under bust lines on all the panels for both the lining fabric as well as the fashion fabric. So once I was done doing all of that, I proceeded to sew. Now this notching is very, very important because when you are stitching, you need to match the notched points on all the panel pieces. Now this is my collar, my false collar. I cut 4 pieces of that. And then this is the area that is going to be gathered. I also cut 4 pieces of that. On the patterns, it is going to be properly labeled how many pieces you have to cut for each pattern piece. So I'm going ahead to fuse the upper part of my fabric with fusible interfacing. Now this is estay, at least it's called estay in Nigeria. It's a form of fusible interfacing. So I've fused all of my top pieces with fusible interfacing, and I'm going ahead to sew. Now there's actually a technique to stitching the top part of your dress, which I'm going to be showing you shortly. But first off, just notice that the side front panel piece is on top facing me, whilst the center front panel piece is on the machine. Right, this is very, very important. Your side front panel must be on top. So either ways, no matter which way I turn it, my side front panel piece must be on top. This is very, very important. So now this is me. I start stitching from the bust points just so that it's very, very important because that bust point needs to lay flat. Like the notched points on the bust point needs to align on both center front panel and the side front panel. So this is me stitching from the bottom again to meet with the stitch I started at the bust point. Now this is the lining piece. Now let me show you properly. You can first see me matching the notched points. Very, very important. You can also start from the top. Actually, you don't always have to start from the bust point, but if you're starting from the top, ensure that if you're not a professional, pin first and ensure that the notched points on both the center front panel and the side front panels match. Very, very important. So now I'm proceeding to stitch. Now ensure that when you're stitching, if you're not a professional, mark your seam allowances. If the seam allowance is ½ inch, usually our in seam allowances are ½ inch and our side seam allowance is 1 inch. So if your in seam allowances is ½ inch, ensure that you mark it out with chalk or something first before you proceed to stitch. Now again, you can see my side front panel is on top. I'm matching the bust points. Very, very important. The bust points, the notches at the bust points must match. So for this one, I'm starting to sew from my bust point again, same ½ inch seam allowance, and then I'm sewing to meet it at the top. I'm not dragging it, and I'm ensuring that the ½ inch seam allowance is equal on both panels, so that you have a clean fit at that bust area. And then I'm continuing my stitching from the bottom as well, so you can see what the final result looks like. You can see how clean the fit of that bust area is. That's what we're trying to achieve. That's why we have to use this technique. And so once I'm done with this, I'll go ahead and iron my pattern, my pieces. So now you can see what it looks like. And then this is the fashion fabric. So I joined the fashion fabric separately, joined the lining fabric separately. And please note that I used my fashion fabric as lining for my center front and center back, just to make my work neater. Now these are my false colors. I've gone ahead to iron, stitch and iron. And then this is my lining for the front. I've gone ahead to iron. Now notice that I ironed the seams apart, open. Do that for both the lining fabric and the fashion fabric. This is the fashion fabric as well. Now for the fashion fabric, after ironing the seams open, right, get your bust hem and then use it to mold that bust area properly. Now to mold it, you put your bust hem underneath and then cut patches of stay and just iron across the seams. Can you see that? You cannot see my seam again, like the stay has covered my seam. So this is what I'm talking about. Iron it and create a mold, right? Now this is the net that I was speaking about. Now I'm torn between using this net and then the other one that you can see behind. This one is thicker and this one I feel like it's tricking my body, so I don't really want to use this one. I eventually settled for this, which is going to give me the effect I want, but you know, it's not just as thick. I don't know if it is going to give me exactly what I'm envisaging. But speaking in retrospect, it actually did. So I prefer that I use this one. So this is what I went with. I proceeded to cut out the gathered area. Use the gathered area to cut this as well, because I mean it's the same thing. We're going to be joining it. So I proceeded to cut this out and then I proceeded to stitch. Now to stitch this is what it's going to look like. So the curved edge of this gathered area, just you're going to fit it into the edge of your front parts, if you can see what I mean, and then you're going to proceed to gather just this area. So I hope you understand what I mean. And the pattern is going to be properly labeled, what you're supposed to gather. So once you get the pattern, you would understand it. So this is my fashion fabric. Now I'm going ahead to join all of my pieces together. Now notice that I've joined the front and the back together of my fashion fabric. Can you see the side seam is sewn? So this is the fashion fabric separate. So now I'm going ahead to fix my zip. Now notice that I'm going to fix my zip on just the fashion fabric alone, because once I'm done fixing the zip, I'm now going to use the lining fabric to turn everything so that I can keep my rough edges, the rough edges of my seam area in between the fashion fabric and the lining fabric. I hope you understand. So this is my lining fabric. I've gone ahead to join it at the side seam as well, and I've gone ahead to hem it as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it at the top. Turn it at the top and then turn it at the lining area. In a subsequent video, I'll show you how that is done because I didn't film that side. But anyways, this is my sleeve. So for the sleeve, this is the hem area. Go ahead and hem the hem area first using the 1 inch seam allowance, and then this is the sleeve cap. So for the sleeve cap, whip it first and then go ahead and just fold it in by ½ inch and then sew. Now once you're done sewing, you're going to pass this elastic thread through it. Now let me tell you how many inches this thread is. This is going to vary depending on what size of the pattern you buy. So this is 8 inches. Can you see? That's the length, and I'm a size 10. I'm a perfect size 10 I suppose. So once I'm done, I've gone ahead to stitch it now, and I've hemmed it. So I'm going to go ahead and pass my elastic through it. Now see how I'm passing it. I just pinned safety pin to it, so it's easy for me to just push it through this loop that I have created. Notice there is a loop that you create at the sleeve cap, right? At the hem, you fold twice the hem, but at the sleeve cap, just fold once, half an inch. So you can see me passing it through. And once I'm done, this is what it looks like. Now you can already see how the sleeve is. You can see that it has formed that cap sleeve effect that I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch on at the edges just so that I can hold the elastic in place. So once I'm done stitching it this way, I would go ahead and join it to my main dress, and this is the final result. Guys, look at how pretty this looks. Like, look at the feet now, guys. Like, what is this? Like, so guys, do you think that I achieved the girly look that I was going for? Because I mean, this, in my opinion, was so pretty. It was so comfortable also. It was so comfortable. And so this is what I looked like. And I paired this with green stilettos and a green purse, and I absolutely loved the look. It was so comfortable. And in my opinion, very girly, guys. What do you think? Tell me in the comment section if you feel like I achieved the girly look that I was gunning for. So guys, ensure that if you're not subscribed at this point, subscribe, follow, like, and share for more. Ciao.